So far this year, I've read at least one book a week. And here's my Goodreads record. I've had it as a goal to read at least one book a week for the last 2 years, but this is actually the first year I'm on track to complete it. So I wanted to share what has really worked for me so far this time. Look, we're all uniquely made as human beings, so there's no guarantee that what works for me will work for you, but it's my hope that you can get some ideas from what I've tried. One thing I tried is I set a measurable target for each day for a frequency that worked for me and recorded. This is the one thing that really helped me to be on track. Because I wanted to finish at least one book a week, I figured at least 20% of any book will achieve my goal. That means I have 2 days left over in the day to kind of make up for it if I were to fail at meeting a day-to-day target. Having a measurable target really helped me to know that there is a finish line each day that I was aiming towards. To track how I was getting along with this as well, I used an app called Streaks, where you record when you've done something and start the streaks. I'm gonna be honest, I've let a few days slide here and there, but as I said, I made 20% my goal per day, so I could have a slip up here and there. But getting streaks adding up and recording when I've done the thing really motivated me not to lose any streak that I was able to obtain. I read every day, but I understand that's not something for everyone, and not everyone has the same schedule as I do. So it's not really about being strict and reading something every day, but it's about having an achievable routine that works for you, but that will get you to your goal, and measuring how you get on with your progress. The second thing that really worked well technology-wise is that I used Kindle. Kindle makes reading and measuring how much I've read really easy, because not only does it take an account of how much I've read, it also gives me an indication of how much I have to go, which is really handy. With a paperback, I could have done some maths and figured out what 20% was for each book and sort of aim towards that each time. But Kindle just makes it so much easier to know how much I need to read and how much I have left to go in a day. Also with Kindle, I can read on my phone, which meant I was able to find time to read a little bit easier. With a physical book, I would have had to carry it somewhere and have to have access to the book when I have the time to read it. Whereas with the phone, I wasn't really away from my phone in any measurable way at any time during the day, so it was relatively easy. As James Clear says in his book Atomic Habits, and I'm very liberally paraphrasing here, we need to make good habits easier to fall into by adding it into something we already do and remove the friction in doing it. The flip side of that is, for a bad habit, we need to create a barrier to bad habits, so it's harder to do and creates friction before we do more of that. Given I wanted to read more, which is a good habit, making reading easier by getting used to digital formats, i.e. on my phone, worked really well for me. The third thing that really helped me is using Audible. One of the biggest challenges I hear people have with reading on their phone is that phones can be distracting, and I do not disagree with that at all. There are many good videos out there that talk about making phones less distracting, including making the phone grayscale so it's not colorful and it's not that fun, and also removing sort of the social media apps, etc. Using a Kindle is easy enough without a phone for people who don't want to change anything on how they do their phone usage, and they can get a Kindle, the physical device Kindle, since that doesn't have any other apps that can be distracting. I've decided to lean into the distraction because I frankly didn't want to reduce my phone usage in any different way or to change anything drastically just so that I can read more. So what I've done is actually I downloaded Audible books for whatever book that I was reading on Kindle. Kindle and Audible have this great feature called Whispersync, where the book that's being read on Kindle knows where I've gotten up to, and that will hand off to the Audible device, and vice versa. This means that if you're driving or on a train or on a bus and you would rather listen than to read, you can pick up where you left off from the Kindle book. One caveat is that Whispersync really isn't available on all books, and that is really dependent on the region of where you live. And to be honest, while Whispersync is a great feature, what I use Audible for is really just to listen to the book and read at the same time. It's less about, for me, the handoff between the Kindle and the Audible. By having Audible read the book out loud to me and to have me reading the book, is that it really forces me to concentrate. I do note listening to the book can be quite slow compared to reading a book depending on your reading speed. So I tend to have Audible on at least 2 times the normal speed, and most of the time I'm on 2.5 or 3 times the speed. This means that because they're reading so much faster than normal talking speed, you have to really concentrate to capture every single word. That meant that I was having a hard time trying to think of anything else or do anything else while I'm reading. Of course, there may be a better way to deal with the inability to focus that comes from being so glued to my phone or so addicted to my phone, like meditation or actually having some time away from the phone. But for now, I think I found a workaround that suits me. So in conclusion, there are about 3 things that I'm doing this year to read more that's been working. 1, I am using streaks to track my habits and make sure that I am reading each time and that I get the satisfaction of ticking it off as being done. 2, I'm using Kindle on my phone so that I can read anytime I have, and also so that I can measure the progress of how many pages are being read a lot easier. And 3, I am using Audible to make sure that I am not distracted from any of the sounds outside or that I have to think about, because I have to concentrate on the book because Audible is going so fast. Not everything I do is going to work for you, so I'm really interested to know what you are doing to read more, if you have that as a goal, and see whether you agree with any of the things that I said or whether you disagree. If you like the content, please click the like button below and consider subscribing for more content from me. Also, if you want to follow what I'm reading and try to read a book a week with me, and this will actually keep me accountable to you as well, please follow me on Goodreads and I will leave my details down below. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.